Hi, welcome to my final reflection for HCDE 313. I'm Jay. I'll be introducing what I've learned throughout the course by talking about research methods including field research, interview, survey, and final report. What is user research? And what is HCDE 313? Before taking it, the only thing I knew about this class was that it has tons of work to do and really intense. Sounds like it's about understanding the users, but how exactly are we going to do that? How do I understand user research? Originally, I considered it as a skill that I need to learn in order to get a certificate, and then get a job using the certificate. But actually, user research is a skill set, and a really big one. After taking the 313 class, I consider user research a new way to understand and convince others. It's about knowing users better so that I can walk in their shoes and communicate the findings effectively. In order to do that, I'll need to think from others' perspective. My field observation went well, since at that point I didn't know much about user research. What I did was just writing everything down during the sessions. But the important thing I learned was to clean up the notes when memories are still fresh after each session. Small detail, but still make a big impact on the data I collected. Affinity diagram is tricky. It was the first time for me to put so many sticky notes on the wall. And what was really helpful is that they organized data very well, especially that we can move the nodes around physically in order to find a pattern or a theme. Findings from field observation make me realize research is a recursive process, because a lot of my findings at that stage were not strong enough to come up with a design recommendation, but still good enough to help with the next research. Interview was challenging to me. I'm not good at talking, and trying to get information by talking is even harder. But it's interesting to work as an interviewer, because when I go out and look for jobs, I'll be on the other side of the table. The surprising thing was that planning took way longer than I expected. I spent hours coming up and revising the interview questions and protocol, and thinking about the possible circumstances that might occur during an actual interview session. Everything went surprisingly well during interviews. One interesting finding was that participants sometimes try to guess the research purpose, and they will align their answers to the purpose, biasing the research. Survey is the quantitative research method used during 313. I consider it very helpful in UX research, because UX is sometimes really qualitative, and there are people out there that need to be convinced by quantitative data. Analyzing data is trickier than I imagined, especially when I realized Excel cannot analyze non-numerical data. Choosing the correct visual to display the data also required some thinking. And putting different sets of data on the same graph is even more challenging, but that was super effective when I did it properly. Only analyzing the data is not enough. The art of data analysis is to tell a beautiful and impressive story out of the data. Nobody will listen if I'm just presenting the data itself. And data analysis requires successful communication in order to actually work. Speaking of storytelling, final report is the ultimate practice of presenting my findings. My strategy was to do an affinity diagram of previous reports, organizing the information and start writing. Also, I used some visual elements along the way to grab readers' attention. The course was challenging overall, but what have I learned ultimately? I think 313 class changed my worldview by some degree, so that I can think from users' perspective and made the right choice in my life. Here's a problem I recently met. I was planning to take pastry class during summer, but I have to choose either Chinese pastry or American pastry. So which one should I choose then? Intuitively, the answer is American pastry, because that's what I'm personally interested in. But is that the right answer? When I think about this question from user's perspective or user's standpoint, Chinese pastry is a better choice. Since my future plan was to socialize and network more in United States, the ability to make Chinese pastry is definitely more culturally impressive than making American one, because the user in this case would be people in United States. I still have a long road ahead and a lot of choices to make. I am so glad that I learned how to think from user's perspective in this class, which will make more choices and opportunities open to me in my life. At last, this was a great quarter, and I really thank Sarah and Robin for teaching and helping me in so many ways. I believe life is about changing, and with the knowledge you taught me, great changes will happen. Thank you.